What's happening, everybody? George back again to do another video, and this one is the AC/DC rumor video for August 8th, 2018. Now, last week there was a rumor floating around that Stevie Young and Phil Rudd were spotted in Vancouver, British Columbia, near the Warehouse recording studios that AC/DC has recorded the last few records in. When I first heard it, I thought it was complete just rumor, somebody making shit up. But it turns out the guy that, what was his name, Steve Newton, he's a Canadian journalist. He's the one that kind of let the cat out of the bag, I guess. He has a friend up there that spotted these two, and again, it was just it's just a rumor as far as I know, but he was really, he stuck to his guns and said it was true. Well, it turns out yesterday, which would have been August 8th, not only was Phil Rudd spotted in the I guess the back patio of the Warehouse Studios, but also Brian Johnson. So it looks like, as of right now, that Phil Rudd and Brian Johnson are back with AC/DC and recording in Canada as we speak with Stevie Young. No bass player has been spotted yet. However, I have a feeling for the album that Stevie or Angus will probably record the bass tracks, and I'll put a picture here at the end of the video that's been floating around all day on social media and various music websites of Brian Johnson and Phil Rudd on the back patio of the Warehouse recording studios up in Vancouver. But after I heard the initial rumor last week, I really thought, that Axl Rose would probably be the singer on this new project. I wasn't a huge fan of the idea of Axl singing with these guys. When Brian first left, you can look back at my older videos and see that I was not happy with it. And then I went to see them here in Philly, the last show of the Rocker Bus Tour a couple years back now, with Axl, and it was actually Cliff Williams' last show. I guess, I don't know if Cliff's going to be involved with this project because he is retired now. But I don't know. I just have a feeling if he's not there, I would imagine Stevie or Angus probably doing the bass parts, maybe not. But it's good news for AC/DC fans, I think. I do believe at this point, which I've said the last two studio albums, that if this album does surface with Brian and Phil, it'll probably definitely be the last album. I would think. I don't know. For as much as I loved the last album, the more I listen to it nowadays, it's a good record. It's not as strong as the Black Ice was. I think Black Ice, in all reality, ranks up there with one of my favorite Brian albums. It's just a solid album all the way through. I think. I mean, 15 tracks is a lot of songs, but they were gone for 8 years at that point, so kind of makes sense to load up the album with as many songs as possible. And then Rocker Bust was 11 songs, which I think 8 of the songs out of the 11 I really enjoyed as much as I did Black Ice. But there was a couple on there that I just thought were okay. And I didn't like the production as much on that record for some reason as I did Black Ice. I don't know. I just hope that with the new record that it looks like they're recording, that it's more and I say this every time, but more of the raw sound that they've had going on in the last couple albums anyway. Now some people think that the last two records were over polished, you know, overproduced. I don't think they were quite as much as like the Razor's Edge was. But I think it still had that kind of rawness to it, especially Black Ice. I mean that I listened to that album today, and it's what 10 years old now. I guess. Holy fuck! I can't believe it's that old. It's still a solid AC/DC record. It's one of their better albums with Brian. I've always been a huge fan of Flick of the Switch. It's probably one of my favorite. It probably is. Actually, it is my favorite Brian Johnson album because of the rawness and the songs were just great on that record. And obviously, Back in Black and For Those About to Rock, and I even like some of Fly on the Wall. I think there's some great stuff on Fly on the Wall. You know, and they kind of lost me with Blow Up Your Video a little bit. I mean, Heat Seeker and That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. Again, the production on that record is not that great, but it was the 80s as well. So, and then again, Razor's Edge has some good stuff on it. It was just way overproduced, too polished for AC/DC. And then the two bluesy, you know, Ball Breaker and Stiff Upper Lip were kind of that more of a bluesy AC/DC at that point, which I happen to enjoy a lot. I loved Ball Breaker. I thought Rick Rubin did a great job with that record. It's a dry sounding album, but I think that's a fantastic AC/DC record. Stiff Upper Lip, again, kind of like with Rock or Bust with me, not quite as good as Ball Breaker, but a decent record with some killer stuff on it, like Meltdown. I always thought was a great song. But I really am looking forward to the new AC/DC record with Brian. I'm glad. I mean, if this stays the way it is, the way it looks right now, I'm so fucking happy that this is happening. I still don't know how I would feel with Axl singing on a new AC/DC record. It just wouldn't be the same to me. It wouldn't be AC/DC. If they were going to do something without Brian at this point in the studio, I would just say get somebody in there, that's a no-name, you know, not somebody high-profiled like Axl. Although I give Axl all the credit in the world. When I saw him live a couple years back with AC/DC, he fucking nailed everything. I can't take that away from him. He sounded great. You know, he was in key the whole time with the band, and he just looked like he was having a good time. He was having fun, no ego. And I've heard that about Axl over the last 5-10 years now, that he's kind of, you know, humbled a little bit over the years, rather than the old asshole Axl of 20 years ago. But everybody grows up, I guess. But I think he did a great job. I wouldn't take anything away from him. I did have some doubts going into the show, but my buddy, who we call Drummer Mike, he was amped up, you know, just to see AC/DC, and it got me excited. By the time we got down there, he was, you know, oh man, he's gonna nail it. He'll be awesome. Don't worry about it. And he was. You know, I can't take that away from Axl. He did a great job filling in for Brian. I don't know at this point. Obviously, it's way too early to know who's going to tour with this band. If Brian has finally figured out or has gotten his hearing situated as far as live performing goes, or performing live goes, I should say. I'll be the first one to, you know, to go when they come back to Philly if Brian's singing. I don't know if I would go with anybody else singing at this point. Probably. I mean, it's still Angus. I still enjoy watching Angus and listening to him. So, but anyway, it does look like the rumors are true, and even like a bonus with Brian, because like I said, the rumors were Stevie Young and Phil Rudd last week. Everybody assumed that Axl would be the singer at this point, and then to see the actual, photographic proof of Brian Johnson with Phil Rudd on the porch of this warehouse studios. I mean, it can't get any better than that, can it? So that's like a bonus. I mean, it was cool enough to hear that they were back in the studio anyway, but to get Brian back is really that's just icing on the cake, really, and I can't wait, for it. So I guess I would imagine there'll be some official word at some point, going back to the Rock or Bust studio info when they were up recording. That was done, I believe, in May or June of that year. So the album came out in the first week of December. The first track, Play Ball, was out in September for the MLB playoffs of that year. So yeah, I mean, at this point it's August. I don't think we'll get any official word till maybe November, October, November. Probably the album will drop after the holidays at this point, I would think. Just the way it looks, timing and pressing. I would say January, February, which is good, spring tour. But, man, it's good news if you're an AC/DC fan and you're an AC/DC fanatic like I am. So I look forward to it. I look forward to more official news on what's going on. This band's always been a really private band. You never, even going back years, you never knew what they were up to until they decided to put something out in the press or announce a tour or an album or a single or something like that. Now with social media, these guys got caught in Vancouver, so it looks like it's happening, but I can't wait. I figured I'd just jump on here since I haven't done a video in a while, but I'm heading out this weekend to do some digging. Right now I'm doing more of the horror comic thing, since there's not a ton of new CDs or records out this time of year. Actually, you can see I'm cleaning up this area here, so I got a bunch of shit I gotta haul out of here. This is kind of the dump zone of garbage. Not garbage, but just old paper and boxes and stuff that we've been cleaning the house, so getting rid of that this week. And then I'll probably do a new Nerd Alert at some point. I got some really cool stuff in. I went to a indoor flea market over this past weekend. I was gonna film in there because there was some amazing stuff in that place, but the guy wasn't really down for me filming in there. So, but I got some cool stuff. I've been reading a lot of the weirder horror, the old 50s and 60s horror comics over the last couple months. Horror Tales and magazine, which are hard as shit to find. But other than that, I'll have a new LP update at some point. Got some interesting new bootleg LPs, and some CD LPs, and some CD reviews, and some CD update of stuff that I picked up over the last couple weeks, but stay tuned for that. Anyway, that is it. Some good news if you're an AC/DC fan. Looks like Brian and Phil are back. So at least the 4 of them are up there now. I don't know who the new bass player is, if they have one yet, but we'll see. I would imagine shortly we'll find out what's going on, but I'll talk to you all real soon, and check out my thumbnail and you'll see the picture of Brian and Phil if you haven't seen it. It's everywhere, so I'm sure you've seen it by now, but I'll talk to you all real soon. All right? Peace. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And click that thumbs up button. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.